Hey everybody, here is the longer form video of my review and walkthrough of my diorama of a late production Hetzer from Takom. The shorter version of the video is on my shorts page if you just want a short and sweet review of this diorama I made. To start off, I'd like to talk about the assembly of the kit. It was overall very nice, very fun kit and easy to build. I definitely would recommend it for beginners. The only slight problem I had with it was on this sort of gap right here on the engine deck. I didn't feel like filling it because it wasn't the biggest deal to me, but it could probably be fixed with some basic Tamiya putty and then rescribing. Um, it had minimal photo etch for the non-interior version. It just had the engine grill. Pretty nice engine grill, but there's definitely better ones out there from different companies. The non-interior version did not come with a metal barrel, but it was still very usable since it's a one-piece slide molded barrel. The kit also had clear parts for the periscopes, if you're at all interested in those kinds of things. It had very nice details, but Takom decals are quite thick, so you will have to do quite the work to make it nice and flush with the surface. The figures are from a Tamiya box set. The Tamiya figures are great from the kit, very fun to paint, and the folds are very nice. The eyes are very pronounced on the kit, which I always love. I love painting the eyes on figures. The map is a piece of paper, which I like sort of washed with a brown wash from Tamiya, and then I took a very fine marker to sort of make all the lines on it. The base of the diorama was made from some basic purple insulation foam I got from Home Depot. It is quite nice. It's very fine, so you won't have to deal with any like sort of styrofoam textures once you put the putty or whatever dirt you use. I'm not the best. I don't have a hot wire cutter, so the edges are a bit messy, but that's not a big problem to me. The static grass I used on the diorama was just some cheap stuff from Amazon. Still works great. For the base, I used AK's Dark Earth, and then I painted I base coated it with NATO Black, and then put a layer of NATO Brown and NATO Green for the grass, and then I did highlights with Flat Earth and Dark Green 2 for the grass. I feel like it looked great. I took heavy inspiration from Night Shift's tutorials on how to work with static grass and scenic bases. Very good videos, I would definitely recommend them. But back to the kit. I painted it using Tamiya colors. This is the second iteration of the camouflage I did. I painted it using sort of like a free-handed airbrush with red brown 2, dark green 2, and then dark yellow 2. Since those are the colors it recommends by pretty much everybody, I used them and it just didn't look good. I did not like the colors. They were very like dark and bland, weren't very rich, and I tried doing the Hinterholt Tarnung camo with an airbrush, but I ended up messing it up on the first camouflage, and I also spilled paint, so I ended up just redoing the camouflage entirely, doing a sort of flat edge camo using Panzer putty to get those nice crisp edges. And for the final colors, I used dark yellow 2, NATO green, and NATO brown. It's kind of weird to use NATO colors on a World War II German tank, but trust me, it looks really good if you like sort of the richer greens and less pale. I like a combination of a pale yellow and then nice rich camouflage colors. I did most of the weathering with VMS pigment jockeys, the light earth and dark earth, and then I did a second layer using both dark earth and European earth AK pigments. They work great. I love the effects they give. The streaking effects, in my opinion, I love streaks. They are honestly extremely important to a tank, in my opinion, and definitely would recommend learning how to use pigments. Um, I also tried rust again on the spare tracks and the exhaust. I feel like I did a pretty good job. I sort of made my own paint using enamel thinner and pigments. It honestly could have come out a bit better, but it gets the point across. There's rust and it's rusty and it looks good. Um, Trying to think of more things to talk about, but yeah, oh, and the figures, I used lots of Panzer models, skin colors, and then AK's uh, here figure paints. I don't like using black for the figures. It just doesn't come across, it doesn't look natural just how black it is in this scale. So I use gray tones for like a normal here uniform, and it looks good for like sort of weathered Panzer uniform, because towards the end of the war, German tank uniforms would become quite, they originally black became quite a light gray through weathering and just tough use. But yes, I used a combination of glazing and then highlighting. This is the first time for me trying the glazing method. I don't really like it. It did not work well for me. As you can see, some of the tankers have a bit too light of a uniform, while others have a good um, mix of paint. But it just, you can't get the same results for every figure with glazing, for me at least. So I'll just use a standard painting techniques for the next time I paint figures. Uh, but yeah, I think that is everything for the video. I thank you for watching if you've made it to this point, and this model is for a competition, and I'll definitely give an update on how that went. It is in mid-April, so be on the lookout for that video. Thanks, and goodbye.